Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown featuring myself under the guise of Melon Lord up against Popletti, there we go, who is, I believe, a Spaniel here, or the ESP clan, who knows. We are going to be leading the forces of Harg and Nef here, the Dark Elves, up against the mighty Tomb Kings. So let's hop in here and have a little look at our build. So this was a rather quickly shoved together build last second by me, but it should be some good fun. We have cheap and cheerful Dread Spears and a nice diamond formation in the front line. They're simply there to hold the enemy back, while the rest of my build actually packs a punch and does some damage. In the very central pocket here, we do have some naked ladies, the Witch Elves. They should be able to trade rather effectively up against the majority of Tomb King infantry, carving them up nice and quickly. And we have the two elite Black Guard of Nagarond backing them up here to deal big damage to large constructs, but also should be able to clear through the chaff rather effectively. We have double Reaper Bolt Throws in the back line, protected by yet more Dread Spears, as well as a couple of Dark Riders who are hiding in the trees in the back pocket. Right in the centre, we do have the Bolt Fiends, regiment of renowned Dark Shards, who not only look incredibly badass with their mighty shields, they certainly pack a decent punch, and they do come in with that glorious shield breaker. For our hero core, we have a Sorcerer of Fire coming in Burning Head, Flaming Sword of Rune, and Fireball. And leading our forces, of course, if you've seen the title, no doubt, it is going to be the mighty crone HELLEBRON leading these elite troops. She looks so fearsome amongst all these Black Guard here. And she's going to be protected by a Master as well, who is going to be given her Guardian, as well as the Helm of Many Eyes, increasing her armor and melee attack. She's coming with Gaze of Cain, Witch Brew, as well as Heroic Kill and Blow, all the good stuff, including Blood Frenzy. There we go. For my opponent's build here, it's gone rather wide, which is to be expected with the Tomb Kings. We have Warriors in the front line mixed in with Tomb Guards. That's going to be dotted all the way along. So rather elite front line, actually, for the Tomb Kings. Nothing cheap and cheerful here. Angry and elite. Nehakara Warriors and the Tomb Guard dotted all the way along. We have the Blessed Legion in a secondary line mixed in with loads more Skeleton Archers. So rather similar to my build so far, with a nice mixture of elite troops as well as an Archer Corps. In the back, we have the Tomb Guard with halberds here. They are protected by a Leech Priest of Light with Net of Amantok, as well as the Eyes of the Desert, the ultimate sneaky snakes. These guys pack a huge punch, they're anti-large, and they're rather pesky to deal with. They seem to be able to dodge missiles pretty effectively with their slimy animations. On the left-hand side, we have some Skeleton Chariots, which is going to be led by Cetra the Imperishable. Looking glorious as always, he does not serve. Coming in with a humble Wrath of Petra, as well as the Incantation of Protection, which is expected. Not going too crazy with the spells, because he already has another caster. But I think that's it there. Looks like we have gone through everything. So without further ado, let's get this battle underway. Bolt Throws immediately going to open up on these Skeleton Archers with that spread shot. Just trying to do as much damage as possible with them. And good targeting by my opponents. He's going after our Witch Elves. These naked ladies, of course, have 0 armor. So they're going to be falling back to the relative safety of the back lines for now. As the Bolt Fiends line up some shots and start unleashing hell upon this front line. And the Bolt Throws really starting to pick up some good value now. Clattering into the Skeletons with blood, or not blood I suppose, bone and dust flying everywhere. Dark Rider's going to get a little cheeky, start charging into the front lines. We do come down with a big burning head, which is a bit of a whiff by me here. A little bit of a miss, and he catches the back of the unit, but he may be able to travel through and miss this unit as well. The Dark Rider's having a fun time cycle charging. We're going to be doing that on either flank to try and hold the enemy back for as long as possible. Spearmen will be meeting the charge of the Warriors as well, and you can see in the front line we're holding rather effectively with the Bolt Fiend support. These Warriors are losing to the much cheaper Dread Spears, and in comes the Crone. She is leading the Black Guard into glorious combat, charging in, dual blades singing, and she'll absolutely decimate such cheap units. She is a really fantastic chaff clearer in general. You can see the Gaze of Cain and Witch Brew, all that good stuff going down. Black Guard going to be used to protect the flanks here as the Dark Riders do flee back from that lovely little charge they did on the side, as Skeleton Chariots and Cetra are going to clatter into the front line, decimating these Dread Spears. Black Guard are going to attempt to support where possible. Looks like the Bolt Fiends taking a considerable amount of damage at this point despite their shields. They're just outnumbered by the number of enemy cavalry, or archers I should say, but still, unleashing some bolts relatively well. We're going to be dropping a fat burning head down the line on top of the Tomb Guard, as well as the other unit of Tomb Guard, Chariots and Cetra, doing some really lovely damage, managing to break them up, but our flank is starting to crumble on that side. Over here on the left, though, the Witch Elves having a better time of it up against the Tomb Guard, but in come the Chariots. It looks like they're actually rampaging in. My opponents had really good micro of them so far, just running down the line, ignoring the back lines where possible. That is a kind of a good thing and a mistake at the same time, because the Bolt Throwers are now getting some really lovely value, single firing into the Eyes of the Desert, trying to finish them off. Black Guard as well are going to be supporting, trying to take them down. You can see we're moving our Sorcerer of Fire down the flank here so we can get a nice burn in the head or fireball straight down the line if possible. Bounce power currently in our favour. In the back lines, though, it looks like the Bolt Fiends have returned as well as some Dark Riders. They need to get active once more, as these Warriors will be an utter menace in the back line. And that pesky Ushopti Summon is going to be going down, shutting down my Reaper Bolt Throw, which is a really nice use of it there. Skeleton Chariots should be falling here, but not before they help push off one of the Bolt Throwers and some Dark Riders, and Cetra is just going to be bouncing between combats now, doing some really lovely damage, pulling himself through the Blackguard of Naggarond, and that's going to be some scary stuff. Already up to 44 kills and pretty much full health. Yet another Burning Head is coming down the line, going to be roasting some Skeleton Spearmen and Archers. My opponent does manage to pull out from the worst of it, but still it does get some good value. Crone HELLEBRON only up to 24 kills so far. She is going to be strutting her stuff over towards Cetra, trying to pin him in place. But I brought her on foot instead of horse just to try it out. She gets some really cool animations rolling into combat. Should be able to help support the Black Guard, who are now getting a lovely surround here on the Tomb Guard, and we should be able to drag them down with HELLEBRON's help. In the back lines, my opponent doing some good diligent play, chasing off routing units while I'm being a little bit slow in bringing my other units back to the fold. Ushopti as well did manage to come in here and force off that Bolt Thrower, as well doing some decent damage to the Dread Spears. And on this right-hand flank, the remaining Chariots have popped over to help slowly drag down the Witch Elves. We're up to 42 kills, struggling a little bit now up against the Tomb Guard. We have managed to rampage them, however, which is good news for us, so they can't bounce over and help, hunt down my Sorcerer and other key targets. The Master is trying his best to hunt down Cetra. Now, he's a good combatant to deal with him, but being on foot, he is going to be able to get cycle charged quite heavily, and we don't have anything to catch Cetra at the moment. The Blackguard have now just decimated some troops, but are taking a ton of bolt fire, so we're going to decide to push them forward and try to hunt down the Archers, because we don't really have anything left to do so. Bounce power is in our favour at this point, but all our bolt throws have been shut down. It looks like they're slowly coming back, but I'm a little bit tunneled visioned at the moment on Cetra and trying to shut him down. So HELLEBRON is going to pop over with the Master. We're dropping a lovely Gaze of Cain, turning our remaining troops here into absolute lawnmowers. Should be able to carve our way through the remainder of my opponent's infantry, and that's the plan at the moment. Leave Cetra to the end, where we can surround him and bog him down. Blackguard are charging forward, but taking huge missile pressure on the approach. Now, as soon as we catch the Skeleton Archers, of course, we're going to do fantastic damage to them, but we're not shielded. 100 armor is decent, but we're even wavering on the approach. We should manage to get in of our mighty halberds and start cleaving skulls asunder, cracking open the bones, and spilling their dust onto the battlefield here. Doing a decent job. The Sorcerer of Fire is getting engaged in combat as well, but Cetra's going to bounce back my opponent using the mobility of his Lord to try and pressure my Blackguard and save his Archers, which is a decent play. However, that is going to leave this front line up to HELLEBRON, and she's relatively full health at the moment, up to 48 kills. She's going to be able to mop up the Tomb Guard with deadly efficiency. Each swing is killing multiple models, and we are slowly getting our bolt throws back online. I was struggling to actually find the pieces that we had left behind, but my opponent desperately trying to get on there and shut them down. Over here in the back line, Cetra is going to be finished off the Dread Spears, although the Sorcerer of Fire is still here fighting with the Black Guard, these elite bad to the bones Dark Elf warriors. So they're not too scared of Cetra bouncing around, and now they've gone into these Archers. They're doing some huge damage. We're getting yet another Burning Head down, finishing off one more unit. The Sorcerer of Fire did a decent job, up to 124 kills, but so has Cetra. 127, one up in her there. It looks like he's going to be able to finish off the Black Guard, who did push forward a little unsupported by me, which was perhaps a bit of a mistake. Down here, the Crone is finishing off those Tomb Guards with the support of the Master. My Hero Corps, relatively strong at the moment, is going to push forward to try and rescue the Blackguard, but at the same time, we're trying to finish off this last unit in the back. As you can see, the Reaper Bolt Thrower is back online, and it is firing in all those shots at Cetra, of course. He's the only threat left to us, with the Archers pretty much out of ammunition, and Bolt Thrower can still do some decent damage. It's got, looks like it's got all its artillery pieces active still, but it is going to have to run away at the moment, kite back against these warriors until they crumble into dust. Dread Spear is going to pop forward to be a bit of a roadblock as we start to fall back with our units in a desperate attempt to make a last stand on the hill. But with the Archers out of ammunition, they're not going to be doing too much. And if we can get this Sorcerer back in action, who's currently going for a little bit of a jog and shunt from Cetra, but if we can get her back, one or two more Burning Heads or Fireballs could be pretty key and swing this back into our favour. Well, the Bounce Power thinks it's in our favour already. Dread Spears do manage to finish off this unit, so now the Bolt Thrower crew can return once more to their artillery pieces to rain fire down from afar, and the Master and HELLEBRON can be used as a little bit of a protection bug. Reaper bolt throws here are once again going to be popping back onto artillery pieces. Cetra desperately trying to finish off that Sorcerer of Fire, but she's currently getting flung to the floor. She won't mind that too much, as it means she won't be taking damage, and she can even engage with the Skeleton Archers if she wants. She's not a terrible melee combatant, she is an elf after all. Cetra going to be trying to clear up my cheap and cheerful Dread Spears, who do attempt to brace. I was trying to force them into a tighter formation, but it was a little too late there, and in comes the Master to try and do some nice damage, but Cetra is having none of it. Simply going to be rolling over the Bolt Thrower, rolling over these Dread Spears and weakened troops, and that shock damage is certainly going to start making me pay the toll for my ignorance of leaving Cetra to the end, and he's been a big pain in the butt, hopping back over to the Bolt Thrower, shutting both of them down, although getting a little bit caught up on a tree as well. The remaining infantry of my opponent is starting to push in, but it's only a unit of Skeleton Spearmen. The archers aren't going to be doing too much here. We do come with a big fat fireball, but Cetra does dodge. Luckily for me, it looks like he might clip some of those Spearmen and do some okay damage. HELLEBRON being flung to her knees, but she's back up and ready to fight once more. The distance you can, so we have some Blackguard of Nagron who have been chevroned up, can return to the field. This second unit as well slowly jogging over, but there's not many troops, and cycle charging will effectively kill them. The Master is dueling some Skeleton Spearmen at the moment, trying to make his way towards Cetra. Crone HELLEBRON does pop the Witch Brew. I did it in the wrong order. You should pop Gaze of Cain before you do this, because now she is Rampage, can't use any of her abilities, but it's fine. She's clearing up all the troops I want her to fight anyway at this point. She has some really awesome attack animations as she slaughters another one of the Blessed Legion, who does crumble into nothingness. And it looks like, for the most part, the infantry of my opponent is going to be going down, so it is Cetra versus the world at the moment. Technically 62 troops left, but these Skeleton Spearmen are crumbling with -3 leadership, and with HELLEBRON and the Master in here, they don't stand too much of a chance or any kind of fight back. Even if Cetra starts cycle charging in, his troops will probably abandon him. Instead, my opponent is going to be taking him, finishing off these rogue units. It looks like one last Blackguard of Nagron has held the line, somehow not breaking despite the fact he was the only one left. But the poor Blackguard there does eventually bite the dust. Cetra pops a Incantation of Protection, giving him that lovely physical resistance, as he is now going to be doing a little cheeky bit of cycle charging, as the Sorcerer of Fire does watch on, just trying to save up her Winds of Magic to come in with 1 or 2 more fireballs. And luckily we do have another 11 Blackguard coming back. It's just going to add more mass to this main battle line, so hopefully we can block in Cetra. But he's having a fun time at the moment, simply running over our troops, but they are going to be getting back up once more. It takes more than a pesky skeleton on a magical chariot to defeat the elite of Nagron here. Crone HELLEBRON is going to be, looks like popping all her buffs, or she's just looking badass in all the blood and fury, as Cetra does attempt to assassinate her. I am moving my forces back towards the forest, where the chariot won't be quite so effective, as it will be, getting caught up in trees. And as you can see here, it is struggling to get out now because of this tree, which is the real MVP here for me. That has allowed the Blackguard to pin him in place. We pop down that Witch Brew doing massive damage. It does increase our melee attack and base weapon damage and armor piercing, which is going to allow us to do enough damage to Cetra that he shall indeed crumble. Very well played to my opponent, an incredibly close game. We literally have a handful of bodyguards left, as well as the Crone herself. So, well, very well played there to Pop Liti of the ESP clan, or Espanol. Maybe he's just representing Spain, who knows. Before we do go through all these stats and kills, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. We do drop new stuff every single day, and if you'd like to see your own replays up on the channel, feel free to join my Discord. There's a link down below. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, you can. We have a Patreon linked down below, and you can become a member of the YouTube channel. Anyway, for the forces of the Tomb King, Cetra, the clear MVP. He cleared up a bucket ton of my chaff and did some good cycle charging on my characters as well. Over 200 kills, 14,000 damage dealt, 2,600 damage value. Very scary stuff. Unfortunately for him, his priest didn't do too much, and his elite battle line was slightly outclassed by the more badass warriors of the Dark Elves. Also, the Eyes of the Desert. Unfortunately, Flame just got focus fired down by the bolt throws, and my opponent couldn't shut them down in time to protect them. Was a bit unfortunate, because they could have done some really nice damage in the late game. Even the Tomb Guard suffered, but the real breadwinners as well, apart from Cetra, was this Missile Core. 600 damage value here, 600, only 100, but then 1,100. Really whittled down the Blackguard and dragged my opponent back into the game in the later stages. Chariots did a decent job as well. Now for ourselves, I think the MVPs were the bolt throwers actually. 1,000 damage value on this one, as well as 8,800 damage dealt. And on the next one as well, we had 7,700 damage dealt, 1,000 damage value. Glorious stuff there. Bolt Fiends did decent. I didn't protect them particularly well. They kind of just got outclassed by the sheer weight of numbers coming in from the Tomb King pressure. Blackguard, though, did a decent job. Not the greatest damage value, but pushed forward, broke the enemy resistance and line, and was really solid in the late game as well, bringing in some support for our characters. Witch Elves and the unfortunate Dread Spears didn't do fantastic, and the Master was relatively healthy at the end, so still had plenty to give, despite the fact he got a rather humble 800 damage value, but he's relatively cheap when you bring him almost naked like we did. The Sorcerer of Fire came in with some really good fireballs after the initial miss. 14,000 damage dealt, 1,400 damage value is certainly nice stuff. And Crone HELLEBRON on foot is very cheap and a good little support character, up to 99 kills, 7,800 damage dealt, 1,400 damage value. Big fan of her thematically. I think she looks really badass, has really cool attack animations, and probably has a quite interesting backstory. So I'd like to see her in action a little bit more. I'm trying to figure out the best way to use her. I think horseback might be the way to go, but who knows, maybe that's an experiment for a future videos. Hey guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.